Governor Andrew Cuomo sworn in for a second term Thursday, just hours before his father, Mario, the 52nd governor of New York, died from heart failure. Governor Cuomo said it's time for New Yorkers to be bold and bring about solutions to the big problems facing the state.
It's time to be bold, my friends, because there is no small solution to big problems. We can do all this that I've mentioned, and we can do more, and we must.
Cuomo touted the state's achievements under his watch, including creating 500,000 private sector jobs, expanding universal pre-kindergarten, and expanding health insurance. However, the governor is set to face some obstacles in his second term, among them the battle over legislative pay raises, his veto of the Port Authority bill, and New York thruway headaches. 3 top-level appointees have announced they're leaving in just the past few weeks. Scott, what do you think is the biggest challenge for Andrew Cuomo in 2015?
Republican Senate, probably, because unlike last couple of years, they've been working together. Klein and his team they've kind of mixed and matched with some of these. He's not going to have that, and I don't know that he can. And the Assemblywoman knows better than me, but that's going to be a problem for some of his more aggressive policy decisions or policy, promotions.
Assemblywoman, how tough is the composition of the state Senate going to be?
Well, I think the Senate is one set of problems. I don't exactly know how it's going to play out. Jeff Klein's still going to have a relationship with Skelos, and they're going to be in there. And I think the governor will probably find a way to navigate that. I think he's going to have problems in the Assembly. I think there's a lot of members, Democratic members of the Assembly from New York City and the suburbs, who feel that he has not been a partner enough. It hasn't been a two-way street, and that we've been supportive of the things he's done, which are good for the state. But there's other things, whether it's the DREAM Act, where he said he would do it, or the Women's Equality Act, which he couldn't get through the Senate. But I think there's a sense that there needs to be a stronger partnership, and they're not satisfied with the degree of communication and input by the legislature. And I think there's going to be pushback in the Assembly.
Bill, there has been something of a feeling that the governor has been something of a bulldozer in his first term. Does that style work for him in the second term, or?
No, I don't think so. He was a bulldozer in his first couple of years to get things done, and I think he was very cognizant of his father's legacy of not always getting things done, being more the aspirational governor. So I don't think he gets that now, because I think there's a genuine animosity that has grown among his Democratic base in the legislature. I think within the Assembly and within the Senate. I think he'll be okay with the Republicans. I think the Republicans will work it out with him, but I think he's got a real problem with Democrats, particularly progressive Democrats. And I don't think he can bully his way through that. I think legislators' backs will be up. I'm not one, I can't say for sure, but I get the sense that this is for real now. This isn't just a rhetorical fight.
But Dominic, does Andrew Cuomo know any other style of governance? I mean, he's
absolutely not. He only knows one way, my way or the highway. And you're either with me or you're against me. And guess what? That seems to be the same philosophy of many of our elected officials as of late. Rudy Giuliani, Eliot Spitzer, folks along that line. It didn't work out too good for Mr. Spitzer. But if the governor, in my opinion, he's got to be careful with the C word, the corruption word, around the team around him and with the lawmakers. You've got a U.S. attorney who's made it clear that he's investigating, and these two have not seen exactly eye to eye, the U.S. attorney and the governor. I think you do have some Democrats that in term number 2 are going to say, no, governor, we're not going along to get along anymore. That was indicated during the campaign when he faced the challenge from the left, and the left stood up to him. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, but the Democrats in the Assembly and the Senate aren't going to make as much noise. I mean, what happens ultimately is they capitulate, and just like they did with Shelley Silver. I mean, Shelley Silver is still in power, and the guy has had more troubles than almost anybody, and now current problems. I don't see anybody standing up.
They're very, with all due respect, I think they're very, very different. In executive and a legislature, they have respective functions, and they're expected to work together. The decision about Shelley Silver and his leadership, that's within a body of the legislature. You vote. That's a sort of a different thing. Institutionally, I think the legislature feels, as you've described, and I know there are Republicans who feel this way too in both houses, we're not going to just be quiet and, and be cooperative, because we need things in return, whether it's a higher minimum wage, an expedited. There's substantive things that must be done, and I think there are many legislators, myself included, who have lost some of their willingness to sort of just step aside and in the big picture. We need to have a two-way street.
And I think he's not as feared as he was in the first term.
No question.
Very, very quickly, these top-level defections to the Thruway Authority, is that a problem, or is that just first-term, second-term transition?
Well, I wait to see what the Inspector General's report says about what is going on at the Thruway Authority. I think, look, to me, the governor has not been clear enough about how we're going to pay for the Tappan Zee. I'm a very strong supporter of the bridge. The new bridge, I give him tremendous credit for it, but I do think you have to be transparent, and I think this Thruway Authority is potentially an area of a challenge for him if they have a huge deficit.
Scott?
No, it's all bad news at the Thruway Authority. They don't know how to pay for the TZ Bridge. They've got a deficit budget they just signed up on, and I'm not sure it's Tom Madison's fault, the executive director. I think I think they were removed because that's a tough job to do a kabuki dance for this many years and not know how you pay for a bridge.
I got to write that, the kabuki dance at the Thruway Authority. That's one for the record.
5 terms.
All right, folks, head to Facebook, head to Twitter, sound off on today's question. Governor Cuomo 2015, what will his biggest legislative obstacles be? Up next, tensions are still high between the NYPD, New Yorkers, and Mayor de Blasio, just as New York prepares to say goodbye to another officer killed in the line of duty. What can be done to try to end the rift? We'll get to that next.